With Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1 finally confirming what already took House of Mystery did, that being that the Tomorrowverse is the outcome of the second Flashpoint, therefore being connected to the DCAMU, I thought why not rank every Tomorrowverse and DCAMU film together on a tier list for now since Crisis is still an incomplete story as of recording. I may do a more official ranking after Part 3 releases this summer, but let's go ahead and jump into the tier list, starting with Justice League The Flashpoint Paradox. This movie is absolutely goated. I mean, it's the first one we're talking about. It's also the best one we're talking about. It's still the best Flash movie to date. It's a great Elseworlds Batman story. It works well as a Justice League film. It feels like an extremely established universe, although there were no other animated movies leading into this one. Eobard, in this film especially, may be the best villain portrayal in any of the movies I touch on. Justice League War. Oh, it's a very meh movie for me. It's the Justice League coming together is great. Batman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman are the standouts for me. Not a huge fan of Superman in this movie. Darkseid isn't a very interesting villain to me, and he never really feels like the threat I feel he should be. Darkseid is like one of my favorite DC villains overall, but he just doesn't do it for me in this movie. Son of Batman. Batman is pretty good himself. Any scene with Gordon or Nightwing is fun. I hate what they do with Deathstroke. It's going in meh as well. Deathstroke just feels very watered down to cater to the plot of this movie, and Damian is at his most assholish. Throne of Atlantis. Now, there's a lot of meh ones to start. I apologize for that, but, I am just going to speak my mind and what I believe here. Aquaman and Ocean Master are the best parts. Sam Witwer as Orm is a standout performance. Cyborg gets plenty of attention, and exploring his humanity was one of the stronger aspects of the film. Batman vs. Robin, this is the first one that's going in good. The Court of Owls play their role very well. Their ties to Gotham and its past are interesting and are a legitimate threat to Batman. Damian is developed really well throughout the film, and just like Son of Batman, it's a treat anytime Nightwing is on screen. And Batman Bad Blood, we're right back to the Maz. I think it's fun to see Dick briefly don the cape and cowl in Bruce's absence. How important Batman is to Gotham and how important a family is to Batman are both things at the forefront of the film. And I definitely think it's the strongest aspect of the movie as well. Bruce being brainwashed the entire movie is extremely lame, and Talia's motives don't make much sense from where we left her in Son of Batman. Justice League vs. Teen Titans, so I'm not going to bring it up every time it happens in one of these movies because it kind of just becomes a trend. It was a thing in Bad Blood, it's a thing here, but someone being mind controlled is used as a plot device a lot, and it kind of gets annoying. A lot of those movies are pretty mid, and this is no exception to that. They don't even deliver on the title of this movie, Justice League vs. Teen Titans. They fight for about 5 to 10 minutes, and that's it. The rest of the movie has nothing to do with Justice League vs. Teen Titans. But anyway, I mean, that's just a marketing tool that they use for multiple movies in this animated lineup, and it's unfortunate. It's the start of Damian and Raven's relationship. I think Starfire showcases tremendous leadership amongst the team, and it was nice to see Cyborg get to interact with the Titans. Batman taking himself out is also terrific, but yeah, overall this movie is just pretty lackluster and not super memorable. Justice League Dark. Okay, this is our first one going in the good category. I love that Constantine and Batman are the two main characters of this film, or two of the main characters at least. They feel like the two that are at the forefront, them and Zatanna. The opening scene is a great start to a DC animated movie, and it delivers on the title of the film immediately. I kind of think the first half of the film is the better portion of the movie, so in some ways it can seem anticlimactic at times, but I think they keep up the overall quality throughout for the most part. Destiny is a pretty whatever villain, but I don't mind that in this one. Titans the Judas Contract. Miguel Ferrer is absolutely phenomenal as Deathstroke. Slade as a character is vastly improved from his outing in Son of Batman. The team dynamic is great throughout the movie. Kara and Beast Boy's relationship is strong. I love Dick and Damian both fighting Slade one-on-one, initially unable to defeat him, before teaming up against him near the end. Brother Blood and Mother Bayam are mostly there just as a way to bring Deathstroke back, but they weren't needed for anything other than that. This is one of the DCAMU installments that fires on all cylinders, so this is the first one that's going in the great tier. Alright, on to Suicide Squad Hell to Pay. Eobard returning is by far the best thing about this movie. I didn't care about the Get Into Heaven for Free card until the reveal. Tying this back directly to the events of Flashpoint was brilliant. Dr. Fate, being a stripper, was dumb. Vandal Savage felt completely wasted. Bronze Tiger and Deadshot were really the only members of the squad that got really any substance to work with. I guess Killer Frost also because of the whole traitor arc, but this is a pretty mad movie. Constantine, City of Demons. It's just Constantine outsmarting and slaying demons. What's not to like? I enjoy the backstory you get of Constantine, fleshing out this version of the character more. How tragic of a character he is, whether he brings it upon himself or not, is pretty heartbreaking, but it helps explain who John Constantine is and also why he is the way he is. I'm just a fan of the character, so I'm putting this in the good tier. I enjoy the film. Death of Superman. This movie is great, and there's no reason they ever need to adapt this story in animated movie form ever again. It's joining the Judas Contract up here in great. Look, Goated is exclusive tier. It's the only reason Death of Superman isn't up here is because I prefer Flashpoint. Flashpoint is up there by itself. Death of Superman would be up there with it, though it's a very close second if I allowed myself for two Goated. But it's a go, so there can only be one go. Anyway, Death of Superman. Superman is undoubtedly the hero of this film. It legitimately feels like he is the world's only hope. Doomsday is exactly what he needs to be. A monster rampaging through the Justice League who even Wonder Woman can't stop. This is, in my opinion, the best this version of Lex ever got. I love that on top of the romantic relationship with Lois, it explores Clark's relationship with several founding members of the League like Bruce, Diana, and Barry, and his relationship with his parents. It just adds so much to Superman's death in the end. This film is freaking brilliant. Reign of the Superman. I'm sorry, but this movie, it's not good. I'm putting in the bad mostly because of how disappointing it is following Death of Superman. Cyborg Superman is the most boring villain ever with literally no depth. He was literally just there to set up Darkseid's return. Lois Lane really carries this movie on her back until Superman actually comes back. Shout out to Still though, I did like him. Superboy was overall fine, but I did find him annoying at times. I enjoyed the incorporation of the JL before they disappear for most of the movie. Very lackluster overall though. On to Batman Hush. I've said it enough. This movie isn't bad. Especially the first half, but the second half is where the film falls off of a cliff. Why would you do that to my boy, the Riddler man? Why? Why? I still hold that grudge with you, Batman Hush. Why would you ever do that? Anyway, I've talked about this more in detail. Go watch one of those videos. Wonder Woman Bloodlines is straight garbage. I didn't see a point in this movie. Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. I really respected the ambition, and I'm not sure if my thoughts on this film could change at all after the next two parts of Crisis. It's overall a good film, and I think the cast of characters they choose to focus on is a very interesting selection. It's heartbreaking to see the fates of some of these characters we all grew up with. I'm hoping that Crisis makes the creative decisions made for the finale of this universe make sense. I can see how and why it would make sense, but time will tell if they capitalize on the opportunity to maybe elevate this film further with long-term storytelling. As it stands now, I believe it's a quality film, but I wouldn't say it's great. Now moving on to the Tomorrowverse side of things, starting with Superman Man of Tomorrow. Superman's morals and values are displayed extremely well Parasite is a terribly tragic villain. Lobo is badass and works well as the comedic relief. Lex and Martian Manhunter are incorporated into the film very well, in my opinion. I'm not the biggest fan of this version of Lois compared to previous interpretations of the character, but overall she's still suitable. This is a very strong Superman movie, and I think it's good. I'm gonna put it in the good tier. On to Justice Society World War II. I found the setup of the Justice League between Barry and Clark interesting. Flash and Wonder Woman are easily my favorite characters in the film. I found character deaths to be pretty predictable. It's not a bad movie, I just didn't find like a ton of substance there, so I'm just gonna put it in the meh. On to The Long Halloween. I'll kind of talk about both parts, and I usually include both parts as one movie, but they're just separate on this list, so I do think the qualities vary between these two, though, so I'll kind of get into that. Batman The Long Halloween. This being a young Batman learning to be a detective is brilliant and probably the aspect I most enjoy about both parts of the film. The trio of Batman, Gordon, and Harvey is terrific, and the relationship between the three continues to become more complicated as the story progresses. Dent becoming Two-Face in part 2 is heartbreaking, even though you know it's coming. Joker stole the show in part 1 and was a lot of fun. I rather enjoyed the quiet scenes and the pacing in part 1. It mostly continues in part 2, but I feel it was the movie that tried to fit more into it. It also has the only non-Batman moment of the movie at the end when he lets Gilda walk, which I'll never understand that decision for this movie, because Jensen Ackles, Batman, just how they portrayed Batman in both parts of this movie were so perfect up until the end of part 2. It's just like the worst spot to fumble on a character, especially your main character. But anyway, Solomon Grundy was also a highlight in both parts for me. I enjoyed the moments we get of him with Batman in part 1, then the moments with Two-Face in part 2, that in a lot of ways mirror that of Batman with Grundy in part 1. Calendar Man's incorporation is also awesome, as he's obviously a villain you don't see a ton of. I enjoy both parts, but I think part 1 is a noticeable bit better for me, so I'm saying part 1 is great, and I think part 2 is good. These next 5 I'm going to hit rather quickly. I'm going to save my more in detail thoughts of Crisis once part 2 and part 3 are out, so, I have the full story of what they did in animated form, and I can just talk about the entire movie as a whole. I'll review part 2 when it drops, but I have a review for all 5 of these on the channel if you want to go check them out. House of Mystery. This basically serves as a bridge between Apocalypse War and Crisis on Infinite Earths, so it's actually very important to this entire continuity of events. It's also pretty quality, but it's still only 30 minutes. It is a short rather than a movie, which I don't want to take anything away from it because of that, but I don't feel like I can put it above anything other than good, since it is only 30 minutes and all these other entries are at least an hour long. Beware of My Power, man, there are a lot of wasted characters in this movie. It's not a good movie. It's pretty bad. Legion of Superheroes. Same thing. There's a lot of wasted characters in this movie. It's a Legion of Superheroes movie that's just a Supergirl movie. It's kind of annoying. And Warworld, this movie is more boring than Wonder Woman Bloodlines. Crisis on Infinite Earths, I think it's good. It's a quality film. More things I could say about Crisis. There are a lot of things I enjoy in the movie. I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut for anyone that's saving parts 2 and part 3 to watch, the film as a whole, as a complete story, watch all 3 parts together, because I'm sure several people are doing that. But if you've seen part 1, let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. Let me know what you think about this ranking down in the comments below. Did you enjoy this video? I know it's not an entirely original idea, but I have never ranked these films together, and since they are all technically part of the same continuity, like the Tomorrowverse is a direct result of Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, so therefore a direct result of the DC animated movie universe, I just thought it would be fun to do. And I'll probably do a full-on ranking of all 23 or however many installments there are in the Tomorrowverse. Maybe I'll even include the other shorts, like the Commandy short, if people want me to. Let me know. Just DC content in general. What are you wanting? Like, DC is what got this channel up and going. So if you're watching this video right now, if you subscribe for the DC content, especially the DC animated content, let me know what you want, because I don't want to just farm ideas out of my ass, you know? I want to make videos on what you guys want to see. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you did enjoy the video, and I will see you guys next time.